Hello.
Hello, Stephen. We're live again.
Hi. We are live. How are you? How are you feeling this week?
I'm well. I am recovering from having a sick kid home, my youngest, and now I'm starting to feel something in
The,
my
the,
throat.
the vicious cycle.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
It goes
yeah. Don't
around.
don't don't have kids if you like to have if you like to have you know less sick days. It's especially when they're
Huh.
young. It's a whole
Yeah.
thing.
I think.
How about you,
Yeah.
Stephen?
Today I also feel a bit a bit under the weather, but at least
Mm,
it's just a bit tired and just a bit down. That's all. I do not hope I get sick because I was sick like two
mm.
months ago or 1 month, 1.5 months ago, and I feel like I checked this off for this year. There's a
Yeah.
checklist, an official one,
Yeah.
life to do bucket list. And once you're sick in a year, you should not get sick again. That is at least my standing.
My
That
friend.
is how
It's at
how
least
it was
twice a year
explained to me.
with small children is at
Yeah,
least twice a year, I
probably.
believe. Yeah, it was surprisingly not a problem during COVID because everybody knew how to wash their damn hands and all of that stuff. But small kids, we're back to everybody sharing,
Everything.
so everything. Yeah. Anyway, you've been a bit busy since. Well, it's 14 days ago since we last streamed.
Yes.
You took up the mantle that Mr. Newsonsoft dropped on us. The he had something around using navigation manager to navigate inside his component under test, and then he was expecting cascading values of parameters in the
Yes.
URL to cascade to the property, which is what happens to the component analysis, which is what happens during production code. But we didn't have that support in BUnit. I believe it was actually .NET 8 Blazor feature that allowed us to have component parameters cascade down. So
Yeah.
apparently nobody else really stumbled into this or just found the same workaround as he did. But
Yeah.
you've made an attempt. I haven't actually looked a lot on.
That's good.
I haven't
That's
looked at
good.
it yet.
Clean sheet.
Yeah. So let's. I think if you want to share your screen and we can jump
Yes.
into
Yes.
that,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
then
Yes.
I think after that, if we have more time, we could start just going through the list of changes for .NET 9
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
see if there's
Like
things
that.
we need to do in BUnit. I guess we could basically create a new empty project, try to write some tests against some of the new features and see if it just works or if there's some things we need to do. But yeah, let's start with what you have done since then. I don't believe there's any other community stuff that's happened since this entry, right?
Only one from you. You patched angle sharp diffing.
Yes, I finally figured out why there were some issues. So well, I guess I can. Do you want me to quickly go
Yes.
through
Do
that?
you do shed some light for the folks who might not be aware of that?
I can do the community stuff then for once.
Ooh,
Let's see.
so
Well,
exciting.
so here we have. Well, this is just what's new. But let's go to angle sharp, and well, this is the wrong angle sharp. That's no problem. Go back out again. So angle sharp diffing is part of. I don't need to view my recovery codes. It's part of the angle sharp organization, obviously, and let's see, closed issues. So this was one of the things, and we've noticed that in other settings as well, where sometimes if you used ignore attributes or ignore children together, or one of the other things, then it kind of, it didn't behave as expected. It turned out that there was a logic error in some of the implementations, so that if you used both at the same time, one would cancel out the other.
Ah.
So you couldn't say my control logic is, ignore attributes and ignore children. that wouldn't, so if you had something like this where you both wanted to ignore all attributes and then also ignore children, either text content or otherwise, it would only just ignore one of them and not the other. So that's sort of why that was. There were a few other small things I fixed and decided to push out a V1 release of angle sharp diffing. And I explicitly also upgraded to V1 of angle sharp. And I am still referencing, though, the beta or alpha version of angle sharp CSS, which angle sharp diffing also needs.
Yeah.
But so I'm sort of ignoring. You can tell your build pipeline to ignore the NuGet package or NuGet error you get if you're trying to release a stable version that depends on non-stable versions of packages. But the reason why I think it's safe to do that is because Florian Rappel, who's building most of the other angle sharp libraries, when he marks something as alpha or beta versions, it just means that he hasn't implemented all the features. It's not that the features that are there are unstable. So for the specific use that we use in diffing, where we are able to compare CSS styles, or rather, if you have a style tag, it will actually do like semantic comparison also of the style bits that are in and a style tag. That needs a sort of a quite complex CSS parsing to understand that they're the same, even if they're not a textual comparison is the same. So yeah, that's nice. It's V1. And thus, I also upgraded a bunch of other things over in BUnit land to make that happen. And
hey, hello.
Is it Davor? Davor?
Long O, Davor?
Begovic, yeah. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. Let's see. So, yes, I did upgrade a few things, created a new release, pushed out. So,
but the angle sharp diffing part is not released until now.
Oh, it isn't. Oh, I misremembered. Oh yeah, but
that's good.
Yeah.
So maybe we can, pack everything
we can just do a
together
release
today.
Enable compact line height. Oh, that's actually better.
Nice, dense. I like.
So okay, yeah. So that also means we could skip the custom version dependency of angle sharp and just go to V1, and it's the same version we use in all releases of BUnit, not just the. So we did have different versions. Yeah, so we can actually go do that now, I guess. Do we want?
Do you want to wait?
Yeah,
until exactly, exactly the features and maybe also all the upgrades, and maybe then we can make another release. So basically, as an action item. Maybe we do not update.
Well, let's see why it's
restore. That looks. Isn't compatible with .NET 7. Yeah, well, that is a pity.
NuGet package something is not compatible with the standard 2.0.
That sounds odd. Can you check the diff? Sometimes I saw this in the past since we moved to the package. Yeah. It's something. So maybe we can do it like that. That I will make an extra. Yeah, look at this. We make an
hi Skull. So I believe, if I remember correctly from my more prevalent streaming days, that he's a fellow Dane, and that's the Danish version of saying hello. So yeah, let's see if we expand this out. So this is the shared, and we upgrade Sherlock.
I do not understand that.
Yeah. So
why does it update this package?
I don't know either, man. It's. So I guess maybe Dependabot doesn't know about directory packages props yet. So probably why it's breaking our builds.
But even if that's a good assumption, and I do agree. But it updates some random package. It's it's not even the package it wants to upgrade. It's not Verilog. It's something. So it's a bit of a pity, but at least for us, it's way easier to upgrade. So I don't mind if we have Dependabot enabled at all.
Also, you see this.
Yeah, exactly. There's something. So
it will tell us, but we need to go and upgrade dependencies, and that's it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right. That's fair. So yeah, I guess that's all of it for the community stuff. You wanna share your screen and take us through?
Yeah, let's go. I just took over because I'm a. You took over again. What? Okay, I press on 3. 1, 2, 3. Exactly. So for folks who maybe did not join in or can't even remember, in short, it's about James Newton. So not only discovered he gravity, no, he also wants to write his unit tests in JSON. And that's what, no, I'm just kidding, of course. So the simple thing he wants to do, and which is, super, super straightforward. He has a page which basically has 2 routes. And he uses the navigation manager, kind of like what you also would do in a real application. And then you just do navigate to, and you can see here, this test app maps one-to-one to the application name here. Yeah. And then he has a query parameter.
Can you zoom in just maybe to 200%? Just want to make sure people on phones can watch as well.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay, so now with 200% zoom, so the application name maps to test app, and he also has a query parameter. And now his observation was, hey, he renders the component, or he does this. And what he noticed is, hey, the meter, the query parameter, this one here, will be set to foo, but his application name will not be set to test app.
When the component re-renders after a navigate call.
Exactly. So his workaround is you can just set it like that, which I guess even our documentation makes that example so prominent that it makes sense to use it. So we had a workaround. It's, it seems anyway odd.
So yeah, actually he had even if you scroll further down, he had a different workaround. So that was the manual version. But what he did was in his test code, he would set that up, and he would basically in his test code subscribe to pull out the navigation manager from the services collection. Then he would subscribe to the location changed, and then that would trigger the set parameters and render a method in bunit that would cause the value to be set. He could probably also, take the extra step and pass that out from the event argument that would contain the URL. Yeah. But so it's a bit of a I actually think it's a good point that
it's surprising, at least. Let's say it like that.
Yeah, and it's I think bunit, we've always had that approach that if we can, within reason, support first-party stuff that isn't Blazor when you do the file new project, like Navigation Manager. We will try to have a test double for those services, and one of them is obviously the Navigation Manager, which we do have a fake navigation. Do have a fake Navigation Manager, but we also want it to, do the same thing as much as possible as would happen in production. So. Essentially, what he's doing manually here, we would want to have to happen automatically. So if you have a component you're testing and you trigger something, maybe click a button, and that button click causes the navigation manager to call navigate to and with a new URL. And if that URL contains things that you have as a parameter in your component under test, then that should also, because it does trigger a re-render, but you should also, I guess, actually pass through the parameters. Yeah.
Yes, by the way, we are a phone-friendly stream, and we could argue. I mean, I was just charging right now. We can also try to make it on smartwatches available, but I guess I'm not sure. I can go to 500%. That is possible in
work. Our head would just take up all the full space, right? So we have to Anyway,
exactly. So train of thought gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Steven.
I did this 2 weeks ago. The cool thing is now I can, revisit my own code because I did some weird stuff at the beginning. It's good that you didn't look into detail into the pull request. There are some to-dos, and maybe because this is how my journey started. Why isn't this one not working out of the box? the simple explanation is in almost all front-end frameworks, yes, you have something which navigates from A to B, but you also have something which sits on top, and that thing is called a router. bunit doesn't have a router out of the box. And I started basically my journey with, hey, I just built a router. And it led to some weird things. And at the end, somewhat we are here, but we do, of course, more stuff.
So can you take me through? So I think there's two parts to this, and I was playing around with a lot of this when I was creating the beta version of HTMXer. The Blazor HTMX thing I did, and still want to get back to at some point when we're done with bunit v2. Now there I had to, also there's a whole bunch of code that is in the Blazor framework that is about parsing the content of URLs, and also there's something for the query strings, but then there's specific things that are able to pick out parts and of the URL and pass it to components. And I believe, doesn't that happen through cascading value? Because it doesn't matter if or does it only work? So I think for Blazor component, if you have like a page component, let's call it that, like with a add page or page attribute in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can have obviously the parameter properties, I guess, where you can have the same name as you have up in your URL definition, and then it would automatically set that value. But what if a child component that doesn't have the add page attribute, does that also get the value from the URL automatically?
To be honest, I have no idea. We have to try it.
Yeah, I think so, because
normally, and also his example is a very good example. This one is not. Yeah.
Yes, it can.
Okay.
According to.
Good. Then this isn't currently supported, but we can make this work. That's why we go through that. Right now, it just does exactly that. It doesn't. It is not. Yeah. Let's see. Maybe Blazor does. We can check. Let's check that. I don't want to say anything here right now.
So when you say
wait, query parameters, it's not. So that is a good point.
Yeah.
We have to distinguish between routes and query parameters.
Yeah, and I don't know, should we call them route parameters and then query parameters? Query parameters is like, so we have an example here. Yeah, that one, and that actually already works in bunit, that is. But the route parameter, so yeah, well, so do you want to fire up a Hello World Blazor app and just test it out?
Yeah,
to test our assumption.
Let's go. New solution. Web application is web API. I would say .NET 8 is absolutely fine. Let's go.
Yep.
And then we have here. Oh, maybe for folks who are interested. Side note: I'm not affiliated with them just because I'm using it. Rider and WebStorm are free to use for open source or for non-commercial use since yesterday. Just if someone is interesting.
Oh, so it's basically a similar license as Visual Studio has.
So let's put some test in here, and let's put a sub. I know it's the pages folder, but I don't mind right now. There we have our sub component, and sub component gets what does it get now? Cascading parameter or parameter?
So, well, I was about to ask Copilot.
Because for sure this one, I mean, not for sure. Maybe I'm not right.
So if you go back to your homepage, you need to add something to the to like a route parameter.
I mean, this would already be one, but let's add this here. Then we have code. Let's call it even code or so. I don't know how to call it. Code. You can call me out later for bad naming. So we have code now here, yeah? And let's start here with the typical one. Let's print this out. And then I also want to have my subcomponent. So, and I obviously do not want to set the input parameter of that component because that doesn't make sense. So if I have, if I set it now here, then yeah, obviously that works. But that is just parent-child relationship. The question is, will this work? I guess we can, we try all the versions. I do not mind. We just try all the versions. So let's fire this up.
So I asked ChatGPT.
Yeah, this one doesn't work, for example.
It says no.
Yeah, this one for sure doesn't work. We see here the main component does that. Here, I'm not sure if wait, I'm very sorry. It's very small again. That's the most I can zoom in. I'm very sorry, folks. Exactly. Yeah. Cascading parameters must be added to route razor. That would be good because then we're a bit out because we don't have a router. And if I obviously do this, I cannot imagine that this works, but why not? So yeah, it also doesn't work.
Yeah, let me just steal the screen quickly. Move you out of the way.
Infinite mirror.
There we go. So zoom. So yeah, I think that's basically a route parameter does that cascade to child, and you can see here. Yeah, so basically this is the example you had just now, and you have to actually pass it down explicitly. Yeah, otherwise it doesn't work.
I do like that.
Yeah.
To be honest. And that brings me to a second. I will take over again if this is fine for you. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. A second thing, which makes it also easier. I can remember 2 weeks ago when we talked about this. The question is, hey, what happens? And I'm making things now up as I'm speaking. What happens if you have something like that? So you have a component like home, which has a subcomponent, and the subcomponent has also a page. And this is not a realistic case because subrouting doesn't exist in Blazor. So I'm not sure what we should cover here. And I'm not even sure if this would work. Let's try to be honest. I'm not sure how this works with nested components. We do the same here. Thank you. That was almost helpful.
So I guess if somebody uses I guess if somebody would use bunit to render the app component,
then you get something like that.
Yeah. Ambiguous match exception. So that's because you have two different components that have the same route.
Exactly.
Now, but if somebody wrote a bunit test targeting and just rendering out the app component, if you go to app.razor, it does have a route component. And I guess what I'm getting at is we want to figure out how Blazor determines if it should set route parameters, where that happens, if that makes sense.
Yeah, some TypeScript code. I checked it 2 weeks ago.
It can't be TypeScript code. It has to be C# code.
Oh.
Right.
I thought I checked it, but I can check it again later. I had it somewhere on GitHub. I just went through the code.
Yeah, I'm just looking for, if we go and have a look at, let's see.
In routes.razor? Routes.razor. Here's the whole router. That's true. But
so I'm just wondering, because what is it that actually passes parameters in? Because they are, okay, can you do something for me? And you go back to your homepage page, override the set parameters async method. Yep. Okay, put a breakpoint there. Navigate. Well, fix. You have two routes with So no, you want to keep it for. Oh yeah. Okay. It doesn't matter. Just delete the subcomponent. I'm not really interested in that. So what I want to see is, does the parameter view parameters contain whatever you have in the route parameter?
Parameters view. Where is the? No, that's empty because
so that's cascading.
No, interesting. And here are some frames. Fair enough, but no.
Okay. So
I mean, I do it like that in the code. That is true.
Yeah, but we can't do it like that. So we need to. So I'm wondering how Blazor decides to assign route parameters. It seems like there's an extra step. Something additional happens after, right? Because it's
maybe
not.
Maybe it gets called twice. Wait, let me wait. Wait. So once we go through, no, it's only once. Okay.
So you want to try to do parameters that get parameter, like you can. So in line 12, if you add a new line on line 12 and do, I believe it's, exactly what your autocomplete suggested for you.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would return something out, or rather put a breakpoint on line before you do that. Maybe it's already assigned before we even get to that. So just check it's null now. What do we do? What happens if you step over? Does that actually return something?
Yeah.
Okay, so it does come from parameters.
I just don't see it for some apparent reason, but it's a private thing. Why don't I see that?
It's owner index, that's one. Maybe it's in render frames.
Div Blazor.
Let me just move us over to the other side.
Thank you very much.
I think it's just a default length you want to stop at. So it has component attribute. You can see that. It's
this one, yeah.
Code. Yeah.
Attribute, and the attribute has to be the route attribute. How do I see the attribute type? Because I would assume
you want to see a render frame type. If you scroll down, there we go. Frame type.
Yeah, exactly. In the attribute, values here.
Yeah, so it's the frame type is attribute, and I guess. So that's how. So okay, I guess So the takeaway is. What is the takeaway here? How does it look? Yeah, I'm wondering what's the difference between a real parameter versus an attribute. Is it also the same? Right.
You mean, okay, wait. You mean if I have something like that and I set it here?
Mm-hmm. Does it also show up as a...
Let's do it like that. I set the parameter here, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
We don't care, huh? We know this. I don't have to at least...
You can pass it down. Probably want to pass something down. Mm-hmm.
Good. So we are in the subcomponent. Obviously, this is not set. That makes sense. And now
I want to expect the parameters type itself and see what's inside.
Yeah, exactly. There's
it's frames, and here
component.
We have. It's still just an attribute type. Okay, yeah. Interesting. I guess you can access it as a.
I mean, I can also check what basically my behavior does right now. That's interesting. I'm just looking if I can see here in the stock trace some clue component run in column parameters. Here's the renderer at least. Very, 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 very high up the stack trace. Interesting.
You can call to dictionary on it if you want to.
That's
Or just do get by. You can just do it's an enumerable.
Okay. At least here it's inside. That's good.
Yeah. Well, it is an enumerable, but I'm just looking at the enumerator, and it's just iterating over the frames where it's trying to detect whether or not it's a direct parameter or not.
Does it implement wait, where's the enumerator here? Enumerate. Here.
Yeah.
They don't do IEnumerables, so it doesn't get boxed.
Yeah, so if you just call that one, right? So it'll basically enumerate over the
direct params.
Yeah.
Because depending what you have. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. This is okay. Yeah, that makes.
So they have nested enumerators. Yeah.
Oh, hello. Oh, you can pronounce that better than I can.
So it's not quite right. It's but a good attempt.
Isn't that like cheers? Skål?
Yeah, it's skål. Yeah, it's the Danish version. Yeah, there we go. It's a round circle.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Sitting here with my 105 keys keyboard. Oh, okay. Yeah, so
it's well, I'm actually not sure how you spell it in Icelandic. It's what's called.
Give it your best shot.
I'm going to cheat and use use Google Translate. Oh no! Oh damn it! It doesn't allow me to. No, I'm trying to copy paste.
You cannot copy paste. No, but you can. We can make it dance.
Yeah. No.
We can star
anyway, it. It's close enough. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think the conclusion is though, Stephen, that our hook is. I think we can. So, is it the easiest thing to just pass it down as a cascading parameter?
No, because it wouldn't be true.
No. But I think the problem then would be that.
And it doesn't work.
Like it rewrites. So I guess it to be.
Wait. Before just that we're on one page. So let me. Yeah, that's fine. I don't want to even debug that. My issue is what happens if I say this is scary. Will it be set in the first place? I mean, obviously,
will it even show up? Yeah. Mm.
So I mean, this part, yes, we'll set it because it gets either or, so that doesn't matter. But the question is now. Yeah, no.
Yeah, there wasn't a parameter that matched.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the current way, and this is the one I do, is literally call set parameters async with whatever you pass in there. That is the way I did it. So it
but then closely you call it emulates twice, right? Then you're calling it twice.
How so? Because of the query thing.
The render will do it automatically for you as well. So I'm trying to. So there is in component state. There is, if you go to component state, I believe that the component state has the set. Where's that? Set direct parameters that gets passed the parameter view, and that I think it might be in here somewhere. So let's see what it does. Do they say? We should be careful. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Did we already expose that? So yeah, maybe you're right.
Yeah, we have it ourselves somewhere.
Yeah, we got this via reflection because until
Yeah. Well,
whatever
it's still
.NET
private.
version.
Even .NET 9 is still private. Now, I think latest direct parameter snapshot. I am wondering. So I'm trying to figure out where's the best place to hook in for us, right, to do this. Because yeah. So we could basically, could we? I guess you can. Trying to see if that's a good way to intercept the parameter view.
If you do navigate to.
Well, there must be something. Well, when you do navigate to, like, the full render tree re-renders, right? Oh, it's the dispatcher there, maybe. So we say invoke async. Scroll up a little bit.
Yeah, this whole block is in there,
Yeah.
And this is where I hooked in. That's basically at the end. So because there are some certain things like you can intercept navigation. You can say, no, I don't want to navigate.
Yeah,
and then obviously you do not want to update route parameters. That makes absolutely zero sense. So what I did is basically, first I built a whole router around that thing, which was a bit way too much. And right now what I've just did is I have a service who, takes care of everything, has some code. Yeah. And
okay,
at the end, we do
actually,
this.
Okay, yeah. So do you want to take us through how your solution works? What you were thinking? So let's start from the top, I guess.
Yeah, let's start with the test, by the way, because there are multiple cases, and it will be increasingly more complex.
Can you zoom a bit more? I am thinking on the phone, folks.
More?
Yeah, maybe even
or
100, 200
rookie
if
numbers
you can.
here?
Yeah,
200.
Yeah, and then just collapse maybe your navigation tree or solution explorer, whatever we call that, and actually it fits quite okay. Our faces are just covering your code lines. So
okay.
Sorry, line numbers, the line number column. So I think we're seeing the relevant parts of the code here. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let's begin. So let me have a look at this beautiful component, which is page attribute. So I was a bit of a lazy dude, and I didn't create eraser components because what I did, now I have to expand it again. I know our face is in the way, so I put our faces right now here. You can, wait, let me put it here. What I did is we have router tests because initially I built a router. I would still call it like that because this is literally what we're doing. It is tests for routing. And I did basically a partial class so that we have components in there, separate file. Oops, I'm very sorry. And can you please not do this now? And you have just the tests in one file. We can just, merge them at the end. That's no problem. Okay, let me move this here. Oh, I guess our position on the right is perfect. So we have this page. So if you create a Blazor component with the add page directive, what happens at the end is this one will create it. That is just what your compiler does for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is the same thing as from ASP.NET. So Blazor is not special. It's just ASP.NET at the end. I don't want to say it's like there's no, it's not complex or so, but it boils down to the same principles as you would see in an ASP.NET Web API or MVC. Okay, then I have basically two parameters, and those two parameters map perfectly to those things here. We have the count and we have the name. Okay. And then I just, you could do this whatever you want. I wanted to print them out. I could just also go to the instance, but I like to see that this stuff is rendered. That was important. Why I didn't go to the instance.
Yep.
Okay. So in the test, I just say navigate to, and afterwards I get this P element I showed, and the text content should be literally that text. Okay, straightforward.
Yeah, and it should be it shouldn't matter whether or not it's the component itself. Of course, navigate to, we could also update. You could have an on-click event or something like that triggers a navigation.
Later. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
So I have quite some tests, as you can see, and because there are some certain things which are a bit tricky, so it is rather complex. I thought it isn't, but let's go. And what I did is, let's go to the navigate to, or navigate to core, or let me directly go to our fake navigation manager. So we are in the navigate core inside the dispatcher. And what I did is basically here at the very end, I have a component route parameter service. You can totally, we can rename it. I'm well aware of that. Yeah. And that thing does nothing else than, dissect what URI you're having. So if I just go in, you come with the URI, and it updates that component. So it looks through the component and wants to get, so here, I will come to that point later. I'm just checking, give me the components we're having. This is a set of I components. I need the component because I need the instance variables behind that. That's just how it works. So I rendered fragment base wouldn't help here because I need a concrete I component. In V2, it would be easier because we are using the out interface, but in V1, we don't have this. Anyhow, then what I do is go through every rendered component. Again, we can have multiple root level components. You can call render or render component, as we call it in V1, on multiple levels.
So sorry, can you go back? So what is component registry?
I would like to come to that later, how I collect this.
Okay, but the list of components is all the rendered component in the entire component tree that is currently not disposed.
Imagine it as the list of root components, what the renderer keeps, but not the I rendered, so not our user type, but really I component, the instance behind. It's the same thing.
Okay, so it's only the root components, it's not any child components.
Yes.
And the reason, if I understand, so the reasoning would be that it's because you cannot have a child page component.
Yes.
Well, so I think the only counter example to that, and that might be something we just say that, well, that's not supported, is that if people try to use bunit and they just render the app.razor file, because that's not going to be the root component, then it's not going to be, it's going to be, then they expect to have their page component that the router chose.
Yes.
So, let's see how it works at some point. But it might be that if you want to test that navigation works and you have to target the component directly, that might be an answer that is good enough for us.
Yeah. And right now, as you said, maybe there's a good point. We should put this in the documentation. Also, if you create a custom wrapper around your page and you render that custom wrapper, then obviously it also doesn't work because it's not a top level component. I can come to that later. Maybe. Okay, so then there's very, very straightforward. Get me all the route attributes. So if I go back to the test, that is basically give me, well, more like that. Give me all the annotations with route. You can have multiple.
Doing that through reflection, I assume.
Yes, absolutely. So if you go in here, I just get the type, get all of these route attributes inherently. So in theory, if you have an abstract component which has the route attribute, that also works.
Sorry, I sometimes I was just trying to remember what if I have a custom route attribute where I've created my own route attribute that inherits from the route attribute.
But that should work also with true, not? That's exactly the point. But anyway, route attribute is sealed.
So yeah, never mind. That's not an option. All right, yeah, you're right. That actually, I should have remembered that because I was trying to create a custom route attribute and I couldn't because of for HTMXer. So yeah. Do we have some input here? The route data object holds the route parameters. Yes, so maybe there is some, and I do remember that as well. Actually, now that you bring that up, Scott, it's There's a whole bunch of code, and some of it we might actually want to just get, because that's internal. The whole parsing of route attributes. For example, if you have an integer, it'll do a bunch of things for you, trying to convert it to an integer, for example. So yeah, but yeah, so the route data might give us an anyway. Go ahead. Let's see, because we can't necessarily do the same thing as Blazor does. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Then what I'm doing is every route attribute has basically consists out of a template. So the template is, sorry if I jump too fast. I also have to know sometimes where I go. There is the template. So you have written / page /, and then in brackets, that thingy here counts. And then, for example, optionally, you can decide which type it is, and there is basically a check for you. So I did exactly that. I just got the template. What I did then is to check, hey, we have basically template segments. So template segments is the one you provide from your route attribute, and you have the segments from your URI. I did a small sanity check here to say, okay, if you have really more segments, that it cannot be the same route. It's just not possible. So that's just how it works. We could leave this out, but I felt like, okay, yeah, why should I check more stuff if it's not possible? Then I will basically build up the dictionary, and the dictionary will, the dictionary will be used later on for the parameters view. So you can make a parameters view from a dictionary and vice versa. So this is what I built. Here's unfortunately a small if then else, because in .NET 6, they annotated it with a nullable attribute, but on .NET 5 and earlier there wasn't. So we had to make it like that. Not cool, but it could be worse.
Yeah, well, that's
that. Okay. Then what I did here is, so you want to go through every segment. So every segment means I want to go through page, I want to go through this, and I want to go through this.
Yeah.
And for every segment, I want to check, do I start with this sign and do I end with this sign? Because only then I know we have basically a real parameter. That's the only thing where we're having. The parameter name, let's get this here. I get this out, and here's a bit more magic involved. I will come to some of the points a bit later on. But the gist is the following. I want to get rid of certain characters, and I want to replace certain characters, nullable annotations. And there's also wild cases or wild cards you can define. This guy here, I will show this in a test later, and I want to remove this. I basically want to have the name. So I want to have here counts, not the :int, not this sign, not this sign. I just need count. Oh, I'm very sorry. Let me close this.
I guess you're doing it's pretty complex, the whole parsing and all of that. I think my instinct would be that we don't want to have that code in our code base. We want to even maybe access that code through reflection that is built into .NET that basically takes a UL, splits it apart, and gives us the values.
We can check that later. It is rather complex. I give you that. Yes.
Yeah.
Back on track. Not only the parameter name I need also the property. So the property is now from your instance. If you go in here, that would be count. So you have count here, and I want to have this count here. And I do this here, and this is also via reflection. It has to be public. It has to be an instance. It's just how that thing is defined. You can see it here. I want to have the parameter attribute because this is the only valid target at the moment. We saw cascading doesn't work. So it was pretty easy just to take this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Once I have the property information, I can use this to check. First I check, do I have a property? Because you're not forced to have one. Just because you have it in the route doesn't mean you have to map it.
No.
Then I will come to that later. There is a catch-all.
So actually, 1 second. Can you go back to your demo app you had before? What if we have it defined in the route, but we don't have a property? Does it still show up in the parameter view? Because that would...
Like that, huh?
Yeah. So var ID. Oh, well. That might complicate things.
what was it? Oh wait, I still have it here. So if I say that, ID is set yes.
All right. So yeah, it needs to just be part of the parameter view no matter what. If it's...
Okay, but that should be straightforward. I mean, I can write a test and I have this information. So
yeah.
The only thing is it will always be a string, but I guess that is fine.
Yes, and that might actually be... So even if you go and did you set it in your test example there? Did you go and set it to, if you go up, no, go back to your test, no, not test, sorry, the demo sample. Did you set ID to be an integer? Try to switch it to be an integer, and then maybe just return get value or default. Maybe instead of casting it as a string, just do to dictionary, because I think to dictionary on parameters, that is. Yeah, I think that will give you an object, and we can actually see if it's already been cast to an integer at that point.
Okay, there's something in, and if we say ID, what was it? 1.
I don't think it was the first element. I think it's indexed by string. It's a string object.
Ah, you're right. And this is ID. Yeah. I just make it a bit bigger. Struct layout sounds very much like an integer.
Oh yeah, it is an int. It said int before, I believe.
Oh yeah, I have to look for n like name.
You can also say is int or is int. So if you just do just arrow up and run the same command, but instead of saying as type or get type, you just say is, and it should give us true. Yeah. Okay, so it's already converted from the string representation in the URL to an integer when it's in the...
Yeah. Okay. Good, but I mean, this part shouldn't be that problematic because it's just not skipping. It would be still adding it here. So like, let me put it to do here. If we keep that code, I just want to have it here.
Yeah.
No matter what the parameter. Yeah, exactly. Okay, and what I'm doing then is just, if you don't, let's make the easy one, because as the example I showed, you do not have a catch all. Then you just, you get the value from the segment and you basically cast it to the type. So I have here basically the value, that is the string. In my case, it would be whatever I wrote in that test. And the property information, and depending if you have nullable types or not, you get the underlying type or the type itself. Again, it's just nullable checks. And then I just call convert change type to have it really in the type of, whatever the user has specified for his component. And if that crashes, then it crashes. That is then up to you if you would also crash in a real world application. Exactly. So this is that case, and then that is almost all. And what I'm doing at the end is I have built that dictionary. And what I'm calling here, it may be wrong, is the set parameters async from that dictionary. And here is just a question, shall we await this? I mean, first is probably anyway the wrong function. We should not call set parameters async. Maybe it's smarter to use something else.
Yeah, because that would mean it's being set twice, right?
I mean, we can just check the render count if you want.
Yeah.
In my test?
Yeah, in the test, exactly. So I guess I guess it should be 2 at that point.
Exactly. So let's see if that test fails or not. I would be very interested. I'm not sure if this is compilable because I just wrote some stuff in there. And if it's 3, we know that there are one too many render cycles.
Yeah, so I think think it would be interesting to do sort of a version like you might have a test further down that does the same, where the trigger for navigate to happens inside the component.
Yes. Also
so we want to have the same render count and the same, a number of calls to set parameters async.
Yeah. I just still compiling, by the way.
Yep.
Come on. Perfect. So, where's my test? Oh, it's only twice. Wait, let me close everything. I have a lot of open tests here.
Mm-hmm.
And let me presumably in all target frameworks, because I want to be sure that there's no difference between those. But this is how we expect it. Just that you know, .NET 5 and Core App 3.1 is not working because I'm an ARM64 chip. Just that we're on the same page.
Sure, that's fine.
Good. So at least expectation met, I would assume.
Yes. Well, let's see if
you navigate from inside.
Yeah.
Okay. So
because you're calling set parameters async, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We probably want to actually not do that. We probably want to call the set parameters directly instead. Like the not that method, but we want to call this.
I know
through the renderer. Yeah.
I think why it currently is working the way it is working is because I am already in the dispatcher, and I probably in those simple examples they get batched together.
I
don't think so.
No, I think they would just, if you call that twice, if you add an extra call there, I think you would see 2 calls to set parameters async.
Yeah, that's true. But it doesn't mean we have 2 separate cycles, render cycles.
I think so, because what kicks off a render cycle is the call to set parameters async.
Let me see what happens. Let me also, while it's compiling, there is somewhere a test. Should catch. Yeah, catch all is also something. So maybe come like later. Should invoke parameter lifecycle events. Exactly. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay, now you're right. Yeah, one more. Because I just added the additional line here.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. It can't batch together things that are coming. Like it's just simply 2 calls. Let's see.
Interesting. I thought like at least, because everything is the same, input is the same, why should he render again? Anyhow, wait, let me remove this. Should parse multiple page attributes. Now I have to find a test. I almost was certain there's a test where I did this. Here, exactly. Component that navigates to self on button click. So we have a component here. Where is it? Almost. I was like, hey, what did I write? It looks like the initial component. Button. Here, exactly. So you have a button, and on click, you basically do a navigate to. That's your case. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's similar to what they're doing in the test. Well, the thing they are doing in the Aspire dashboard, they want to test that if I click something and navigate to a different, update the URL essentially. And
I would assume you also want to have 2 render counts here, one from the initial render and one from the navigation.
Yes. Well, yeah. So that's the thing though, because I'm not sure if you get 1 or 2 or 3. If you create the test in production as well, in not like if we go back to your sample project, because clicking the button will fire off a render cycle. Then you trigger navigate to, that might fire, so it might actually be 3 times, and maybe so.
Okay, let's try it, huh?
Yeah.
So we have a code. I mean, let's remove
just
this
throw out the subcomponent. Yeah.
This one can go, and we want to have a button.
Yeah.
We want to have a navigation manager, navman, and click me. And here we want to have an on-click. on click. Yeah, why not? Create a method. I don't mind. Navigate. So, and here we do navigation manager. I didn't call it like that. Navigate to, and then we say, yeah, that's fine. Okay. And now the question is, how often do we go in here?
Yes. How many times does set parameter async get called?
Okay. So the first thing is we should go in here, huh? Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, that's
fair enough.
initial render.
So then we are out. Doesn't have a property matching the name ID, huh? Interesting.
Oh, maybe it's because you added a restriction to it.
Yeah, that's true, but it is 100. No, it's invalid object of type does not have a property. So it wants to have the property now, but I didn't want to have the property when we tested it earlier.
Try to remove the int constraint to the type, so it's just ID.
But didn't we check it exactly with that? Went in here, but
sure.
No.
It maybe okay. So maybe you.
But this is good then, because we don't have to support that case.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. Yeah.
Okay, so
maybe we had a breakpoint in the child component, and no.
Sorry, wait. This of course doesn't exist anymore. And wait, now this is also broken because those routes are not valid. So initial render here. Hello. And now I press click me. Oh, I don't. Oh, interesting. It doesn't change at all. Wait, what? Wait.
Put a breakpoint in there.
Let me just refresh the page. No, am I stupid?
Well, something's going on. You haven't hooked up the callback, I guess, correctly.
I did.
That looks all right.
Am I too stupid to write basic Blazor code?
Apply changes, it suggests.
Maybe. But I did restart the session, I thought, the debugger session. But maybe not. Maybe you're good. You're good. Okay. So, fair enough. So we once are in here. No. Okay, I'm not that stupid. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Yes, so you didn't. Yeah, it's not globally interactive. Just go and put it on the
routes.
Yeah, just at the app level.
Render. How is it? Shit, like that. Yeah, I need
interactive server. Put it on. Also, I think you also need to have it on the head outlet. Otherwise, it's gonna go bonkers. Yeah, I think that's the canonical how to.
You saved us here a lot of time.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So we're in here. Yeah. Oh, we are a second time. We are second time in here.
It's because pre-rendering is enabled. So ignore that bit.
Of course. Yes, of course. Thank you. And then click me and
Okay. Yeah. So we hit that.
And then we come in once. And that's all.
Yeah. Okay. Can you? Let's see. How do we do this? No.
Oh, by the way, that test is also green. And also does exactly only 2 render counts.
Well, that's to be expected because...
Well, no, for me it wasn't. I thought really because we do it... Yeah. No, if you have a query parameter, then we maybe do it twice.
I don't think so, but you can try that out. That's an edge case, I guess, we need to support. Okay, so I do think we need to call the set direct parameters on component state when we do this, instead of calling set parameters async as you do in your sample code. I think that's the first step. But I think try overriding on try overriding on after render and on after render, and see how many times we hit that. Because I believe, like, if you don't do a navigate to, right?
Mm-hmm. No.
So did you click the click me button?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah. So if you go click the click me button now, we get there. We get
once here.
Yeah. Okay. Why was I under the impression that triggering, or like having an event called back? I guess it doesn't. So yeah, okay. So all the on after render, like
twice,
the
by the way. Twice.
What do you mean?
I hit here twice.
Right? After you click the button?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you just remove the navigate to call.
Yeah. Wait. 3, 2, 1. Oh, not this time.
So you have pre-rendering enabled.
Yes, but click me. I didn't refresh the page.
Okay.
Or maybe I was stupid. I don't know, man. I don't trust myself now.
Okay. So let's remove the call to navigate to.
You mean in a debug point, or?
Yeah. No, remove the call so it doesn't call navigate to. Just comment out that code. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now I should go to a route.
Well, if you go to the URL and refresh, it will call twice before pause of pre-rendering, or set parameters will be called twice, and then you have on after render, which is called twice as well.
Once.
Oh no, actually, it's only called once because
on the client.
Yeah, on the client. Not Blazor server, but
like when it's on the client and it's signaled, it's there.
It's actually interactive. Yeah. Then on after render is only not called during set parameters. Now, if you click the button now, so I'm not good at. So did it actually hit the breakpoint? Or am I?
Sorry. I'm not sure how visible that is. We are hitting the breakpoint in on after render, but not in set parameters async.
Which makes sense. Because there's no parameters being set. Like it's just a callback. Yeah. Because it's completed a render cycle. Mm-hmm. So I guess what we see here is that it's fine for us to call navigate to. When we get a navigate to, we call set parameters async. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It mimics the behavior, at least. It's like an emulation. Yeah. Whether or not that's the real thing.
Yeah. I think that should be safe to have, like, to. I think that should work, right? So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that should be good. So the key is, if this should work correctly, what would work correctly would be that when our fake navigation manager, as I think you're doing in your code, receives a call to navigate to, after it's done completing the navigation, it then calls, hey, go and find components that have the page attribute, and if they have parameters that matches parameters in the route, go and trigger those. So I guess one open question would be, if we have both query string parameters and route parameters, do we get called once or twice?
Let's find out. Okay, let's build first a new component. Let's use even .NET 7 or above, because at least then it changed. We have Oh no, it does. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Public. Oh, private sealed class. I'm sorry.
You want to test it out first in the sample project you have, just to see what we are expecting to see happen.
I don't have any expectations, man.
No. But well, so let's establish expectations so we can write a test that makes sense.
Okay. Public. Yeah, let's call it like that. Why not? I am psyched. Okay, let's go.
So I guess what you want to do is you want to put back in the navigate to call.
Oh yeah. And we also want to change the.
Yeah. Set it to something. Yep.
That seems right about right. Roundabout. Oh god. Man, our Friday sessions. We should do this on Monday morning. I will skip that part now. Yeah. 1, 2, and here once. Okay, I will click in 1, 2, 3, and we obviously the first time in set parameters async. Yeah, I will press 1, 2, 3, and we are on first, on after render, and then again on after render. I don't know why we're twice in there.
Well, I think that's because the event handler triggers the first, and then the navigation manager triggers the
interactivity.
Second one.
The interactivity.
No, I know. I don't think it has anything to do with interactivity. If you remove the navigate to call, you only get one on after render. But so it essentially does two renders, right? Well, at least from an on after renders point of view.
Ooh. But everything is synchronous. I'm not sure why there are two. We don't have any async code here. Nothing happens asynchronous in our point of view. Why is there two? Especially
I'm fairly certain that it's still async because it happens asynchronous in the background. Won't you get a pre-render?
Yeah, this is the first time when you basically load the page. I also see that. So we are here the first time. That is basically on the server sounds wrong, but we are at the server and the client has nothing. Then we do it again. Now it's downstream at the client. So that's the client basically invoking it more or less. And then obviously because we're done, on after render is called. So I get this.
So what happens is if you click the button, like we are in interactive mode now, there's no pre-render, right?
Yeah.
That causes us to go through one render cycle of the component where you click it, we update potentially some stuff, and that would render out. Then in the click me, you would also call navigate to. That is a second render cycle that sets new parameters.
Yeah. And then we are done. That's why we're the first time here.
Yeah, so I think if you can look at the stack trace for the first on after render, if you can show us that.
It also happens twice? Okay, wait, let me. I don't know why I did this now. Okay, so sorry, man. So now we are back in business. Let's click. So you're not interested in set parameters async, are you?
So wait, hang on. Set parameters async. That is triggered by our
route and query update.
Yeah, you can say notify location change. So you can see the call stack here. It includes notify connection. So that's what triggers. That is what triggers our call to parameters because we're setting new parameters. Like if you hit F5 now or whatever you do to go to the next breakpoint
F5
in writer. Yeah. So here we get here first, and do we see any? There's no navigation manager here, right?
No, you're already in the thread pool, so we're somewhere.
Yeah, so this is the on after render that happens because we have an event callback, which is it started from somebody clicked the on click event in the browser, right? And then if you hit F5 now, the next time we get there, do we have
The stack trace looks almost the same to me, to be honest.
Yeah, you are right. But I think is this on after render? It's not the async version.
It's the sync version.
Yeah.
I'm not sure would you expect something. I mean, they are.
Yeah, so I guess if you override on parameter set instead of no, keep that around. Sorry, just undo, keep that around, and then also have on parameter set, and just you can remove the other one. Yeah, and put a breakpoint in that, and then in the navigate to call. Hey.
So.
Yeah, on parameter set, that's fine. That's initial. And then
again on parameter set.
Yeah, that's
an after render. Okay.
Yeah. So click me, we get a navigate to.
Let me just make it a bit smaller here. Then we are on the first time on parameter set, where you can see here supply. There's again location changed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then we are on after render. And then we are in on after render.
Yeah,
twice.
And if you remove the call to navigate to down there, just comment it out, and I'm fairly certain we will see just one on after render.
On parameter set, on after render, and we're done.
Yeah,
I can also change it, but yeah, good. Yeah,
click.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, on after render and done.
So I think that the event callback is what we're seeing, right? So what you could also try to do is if you comment in again the navigate to, and then make it an async method and have a task delay of 1 second or something. I don't know. Maybe 2 seconds. Just no. I think we need more than that. Something like that. I think what you will see is. Well, okay, that's going to be hard because you're debugging. But so, yeah, go ahead. And then if you...
We at some point should it be in there again. So that's...
Yeah, so I want to... So what I think happens is that as soon as you click the button and we hit the await, you will get an on after render.
So we're in here, yeah?
Yeah.
I press F5.
You get
and then after render,
and
we're done.
Well, no, we have to wait 40 seconds.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Then you get
now we have to bridge.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that makes sense though.
Yeah, at some point we come back, and then I hit this breakpoint, and then again we get the. But well, now it's a bit different. We made it really asynchronous, so it wasn't like that before. So we changed semantics quite heavily now.
Yes, but I think the key is that we still hit the on off, like now you go again, navigate to.
Only 37 seconds. That doesn't make sense.
Well, there's no guarantee. I think it's because of the. Yeah. So on parameter set, on after render.
Right, second time. I hit it twice.
You hit it twice now?
Yeah. Wait, I can also make it maybe not.
No, but okay. Why do we hit it twice? I guess it's because the callback. We interrupt the callback. So yeah, you're right. I think it's because. So Blazor doesn't know whether or not so there's two render cycles that happen. There's we set a new parameter because of navigation manager, but then we also completed a render. So when we have the delay in there, that breaks up a render. Well, that simply finishes the render cycle, and then when the task completes, it starts a new render cycle because we might actually do other things. We might change a variable or something. So Blazor will call the render, will render again, right? So on after render gets called every time a render cycle completes, whether or not there's changes to do stuff with, right? So yeah. Okay.
That's
No,
the
but
question
I
is
guess
like,
what we wanted to test was whether or not we got more render cycles based on whether we had to query string params or not.
yes,
And
exactly.
I'm fairly certain we don't get that because set parameters async only gets called once.
And well, I'm less worried about set parameters async. I'm more. I can't remember what we did for the supply from query attribute.
Have a look at the code.
Supply. Oh, yeah, exactly. This beauty here, if you can remember.
Yeah, and that's on by default.
Parameter cut. Render comp. Oh, that's all.
Now, if you go to the extension method that we have, I think we're adding a service in there that does a thing.
Where? Which one?
No, so you try searching again. You found where we actually added in.
I did. I only see tests.
No. There was also a call to services.add.
Yeah. Fair enough. Supply. I mean, this is at least the code I can remember. Yeah, this is the code I remember.
But that's kind of easy for us because it's based on cascading parameters, and we have a whole system set up for that.
Okay. Am I stupid?
Yeah. No, it's on the
add value cascading.
It's I think it's based on the render tree bits.
Oh no, not this one. Oh boy.
It's in the default cascading. I think go to that particular one. You had it just right. Yeah. There you go. Add default services. And then there is further down.
Here, this one.
Yeah, go into that. Let's see what that does.
Oh, nice arrows. This was this internal beauty we had a lot of fun with.
Cascading value supplier. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So cascading value supplier. And that's a built-in type.
Exactly, and we built all around. That's why you see here, then we had this very long message. We had even this function navigate to, you see. So we did a lot of stuff here. But I guess because we just make messages, we didn't implement any of it. It should work. This is anyway Blazor bits.
Yeah. So the idea is that we have a custom supply from query parameters, or no supply cascading parameters service
Provider.
will register, and that will pick up on query parameters.
Yeah, but we cannot use it because it was internal.
I think we can. I think it's a public thing.
I thought you meant this one.
Yeah, that's cascading parameters, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's internal interface.
How are we able to use it?
We don't. That's not ours. This whole method is in.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's true. But then we have. So supply parameters from query value provider. If you go to that, I think that's in a built-in thing, and that probably it takes the navigation manager. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it does get it will okay. So that's why it works, because it basically has that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they do exactly the stuff we may or may not do.
Read parameters.
Just it's easier for them. They don't have so many edge cases. Yeah, they also dissect all the bits and then just
yeah. All right. So, yeah, but we like, if it would be nice if there was a supply from route parameters functionality. So I am
route. No, it doesn't exist. Huh? Yeah, no.
No. Yeah, but I'm trying to. I want to go and have a look at. We want to see if we can find the code Microsoft uses to add route values, right? Route parameters to the dictionary view, right? Of parameter view. That's what I was looking for.
Does it scale? No, of course not.
I think it does, though.
Oh, no. Yeah. Awesome. Look at this. That's exactly the code I was. I looked at this. Look what they do.
Well, I know that code quite well. That's because that's again what I learned from HTMX. Now, that is just at startup time where they do basically assembly scanning and find all the component that has page attributes, right, and do all that. But what I want to do is, when you actually, if you go to the router, it's able to, the router component, I think it's just called router.cs.
How is search? Why does my normal?
No, it would be router.
Yeah, no, I have to search it. I could search here.
Or maybe it's just route. You can go and find the component. It's basically the same component as we used. Let's jump over here. The component we used. If you go to the sample application.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's under the app, right? App component. So it's
routes component.
Yeah, that's the component you want to find. Router. It's called router.
Oh, yeah, okay.
There we go. Now, I guess that guy will subscribe to on parameter changed. And I'm fairly certain it's in here. Well, maybe not, but it is the router that creates the route data. That is then passed down as a cascading value. And so actually, what if we could pass down route data? And maybe that is just what we need to do. Maybe that's the only thing, like a cascading value, because route data is, as a cascading value, something that is set by the router component. Yeah. So the router data, if you go to that type, and that's actually confusing. I spent quite a lot of time. Again, I remember from looking at HTMX. There's two route data types in .NET. And there's one in ASP.NET called components, and then there's another one, and that messed me up quite a bit.
But here, for example, they already want to have the strongly typed. So whoever is passing in that constructor, this thing is responsible.
Yes, route values is coming into that from somewhere, and it's coming from. It looks like it's coming from route table.
We have here, wait, I'm just in the router itself. And the router itself has the context parameters. He has the route context, and the route context is from the location path. So this looks very much like our friend in question.
No, make sure it's the right route data.
We are in component source routing, route
yes.
data.
Yeah. Okay. So it is the right route data because there's 2 route data types.
And then we are in the router, and the router is in the same namespace, also routing.
Yeah. So that should be this.
And he has this new route context, and basically, because from the context we get the parameters, and the parameters, as we saw here, it's a read-only dictionary. So this one has to be the parsed thing. Oh, thank you for switching me there over there. So this one, this one here, somewhere in here or here, it has to happen. Those 2 lines are responsible.
Context. Yes. Okay. So let's go and.
So let's start with the top one.
And it's internal, but that's something we can work around.
He has route values, and he has the parameters, but no one's setting them right now. So there's absolutely no way this happens in here. That's way too less code for that happening. Parameters will never be set. So the interesting bit is probably this one here. Process parameters sounds very much like it, like extremely.
And it's a static
method
nonetheless.
It's this one. If unused. I mean, look at this. They do similar things that I do. Parameter policies, they do a bit more.
Yeah, I was surprised how complex it was when I started looking into it.
Interesting. They don't handle nullable types here. Somehow there's so much missing. I stumbled across. Where is that bit? Like, the catch all, like nullable types. Interesting.
Well, maybe they do the try pass, and if it's not, I think they might ignore nullable until later. No, it's just pass, and then it accept. Maybe, I don't know if it's using an overload where it.
Well, that's normal, like it's even the alias, so it's an alias.
Yeah, so it's not try pass, so it should blow up.
Exactly.
If it can't pass the value, but maybe that's actually what they expect to do. If you have declared a route value.
Yeah.
So then.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And if it's basically not set, then obviously it has to be parsable to the underlying type.
Yeah, otherwise it's going to blow up.
And here's this catch-all bit I implemented. Where is then the catch-all? Interesting. But yeah, it looks like our candidate. So if I go back, it's basically, of course, the router. To no surprise.
So what I'm trying to figure out is how do the values get from, I don't know if they get from route data or...
they come from the context. So this one sets the parameter in that context object, and then you can just put it into route data. So route data just gets them as a dictionary.
No. So I guess what I'm missing is I'm trying to figure out how do route data gets to the parameter view that contains the values.
So to the component itself, you mean?
Yeah. So when you have a navigate to, that triggers a re-render with new parameters set for that component. And so I'm wondering how, well, I guess if we can you find parameter view, and then we can go backwards and see if we can figure out at what point is values from routes being added to the parameter view, because it's not coming from...
Yes, the render handle dot render. Is that exactly what you're looking for?
Yeah. So that, no, but that renders the render fragment found, and then route data is passed as that as the context element. I'm wondering if you go, you saw when we have a breakpoint on our set parameters async, right?
Yeah.
We saw that parameters the parameter view contained our route parameters. So I want to find the place in Blazor's code where the parameter view that is getting passed to the set parameters async method has the route data added to it. If that makes sense.
I do think so. I'm even not sure for what I should look. So not set parameters async.
No, I guess so.
Wait. Oh yeah. Next step: look at route view component. We can just do that. I guess this has to be here, huh? I mean, it sounds.
Yeah. So the route view is the nested component inside the router, and it has. Yeah, it receives route data from the parent.
Yeah, but this just renders that down.
Yeah, no, but that again, set. Oh, wait a minute. Set parameter properties. What does that do? Parameters. Oh no, yeah, that's just called. So no, that's.
But that's the parameter view. Isn't that exactly what you wanted?
Yeah, but if you go back again. Go back to. So this is just a shorthand for telling using Blazor's reflection or whatever it does to go and set parameter attributes based on the parameter view. So the parameters view has this method, and you can pass in the component whose parameters you want to copy. So this is just a shorthand for that. So this doesn't really do no. So I wanna find out when does parameter view actually have parameters added into it, right? Like route parameters, that is. So I guess if you go to parameters view, go to the type parameters view and see if we can find the references to it. So somebody at some point assigns route parameters, adds the route parameters to it.
No idea. From dictionary,
that's only from dictionary, I guess. Oh, hang on. Okay, maybe this is actually something that happens when Blazor builds, because you can see we saw this. Sorry, let me try that again. We saw the route parameters in the render tree frames, right? So if we go back to your sample application and look at the generated Blazor code, right?
God damn it. Yeah.
So if you go to the home page, that would be, I guess, that one. And let's see if there is actually something in here that, like there's the add attribute, right? Call.
There's at least that, huh?
Yeah, that's the attribute itself. But then there's the builder.add attribute. Oh, we have the onClick there. If you scroll further down.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody's at the door. 1 second.
There's this friend, but yeah, that's just your everyday attribute. Well, there's nothing that's special in here. Route. There's only 2 occurrences of the beautiful word. Component base, button on click. That's a good question. Is there something the route component should be also here? Exactly. What does that beauty do? But I guess that's also not very special. It is just the Blazor component. Yeah, exactly. It's just ODEP simply found. Route data. Yeah, okay. I mean, there's really nothing special. It's just a Blazor component. So the question still remains, where is that set? Oh boy, if I just get here and look from dictionary, just in the hopes that they're not files to exclude might be any test and any txt. Okay, then there's not that many open. Test and tests. Are you kidding me? Tests. So there's the component.
So
simply.
did I
Yeah.
Did I see, before I had to run to the door, did I see correctly that there weren't any calls to
Nope.
add attribute? So that's good actually for us.
I mean, there's on click.
Yeah. But there's no, so the render tree frames that we see when we go and look at the route, the parameter view, and they contain they do contain, they do contain the parameters.
There's a parameters are supplied from component state, aren't they?
Correct. Yes. Component
But
states.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, exactly. So the component states type has the set direct parameters method, which is the one that gets called, and then that calls on the component the set parameter async. But I want to find the places where route parameters are added to the parameters view. So they must show up somewhere. I don't think that is the spot, though.
No.
But okay, maybe we are actually looking in the wrong place. Maybe we shouldn't look at because it's parameter view. If you look at the code, it has frames, and it's inside the frames they are, right? So if you find the private constructor, it has the render frames, right?
I'm so stupid. So let's go. Yeah. There's a parameter builder, the component state. Oh, thank you.
Oh, let's see. Yeah.
This is for cascading values. I would assume this is not where we have to look.
No, it wasn't in cascading values. Okay, I'm trying to find a good place to put us. I guess it's back to squares.
We are in the way always. Like that's we are. Then we have this one, but parameter view builder. No. I mean, there are frames.
It could be.
Artificial parameter view, yeah. Which means there's a capacity, there's an add. Oh yeah, okay, it could be. It's a parameter. Unfortunately, on github.dev you cannot look for. Can you for occurrences? No. Huh?
You can go to references. Yeah.
I mean, it does something.
Otherwise, go to source.net. And then search for parameter view. You can drag the
I know everything in a second.
Yeah, click that, and then go and find the constructor, the private one or the public one. There we go. And then just click the name of the constructor. And it shows you, let me pull this over here. It shows us where it's being called from there.
Exactly. The question is, where is to parameter view called before I go? Here. Okay, fair enough. That doesn't help. Then, so can I click here? Oh yeah, I can. Oh, and that brings us directly back to the builder, which is called from dictionary. So that cannot be the case.
Well,
someone, let's say it like that. Someone has to call from dictionary with already parsed arguments.
Well, so if we go and so that is the internal constructor is just calling is being called from let's see, builder. Oh, it's actually being newed up in component state. So notify cascading value changed.
Do you want to take over maybe if you have?
Okay, I can. I'm not sure I will if you let me move us about a bit and go here, and I will
make it a bit bigger. Ah, yes. Maybe one more time would be nice.
200 it is, and
200 it is.
So we can see here, go back to parameter view. We have this constructor, which is the internal one. It just calls it the private one here. So if we look at that, that is getting called from, well, okay, from clone. That's not relevant. Then we have the builder.
Exactly.
That's also internal. Then we have component state. So let's see. This is during notify cascading value changed. And here we have latest direct parameters snapshot. If that's otherwise, it's null. And I think the second part here, if I remember correctly, if we have a look here, it's the second part. Let's
almost. What? No, there's a scroll bar down below. No, there's even one more below that scroll bar. There's another scroll bar.
No,
one more.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So the second parameter is the frames. The second parameter is the frames. Those are the ones we're looking for, right? So go back here and have a look here. So this, the snapshot buffer would be the frames. And then there's the direct params called with cascading parameters, and then supply combined parameters is called. But notify cascading value changed. Could that be how they are triggered? Maybe not. Well, okay, let's have a look here. This is a render tree diff builder. Initialize new component frame.
And it has frames. So this is, well, maybe, but it means whoever's calling that thing is responsible.
Yeah, that's. Oh, and this is just. Let's see. Now I'm wondering. I'm still not seeing the connection though to
the route data.
The route data, yeah, or getting something out of the navigation manager, right?
Yeah.
What if we start by looking at navigation manager?
So well, I'm not sure if this helps you, but try your best. I mean, it's just used for the interception. You know, they just register a handler and then they do the magic. So I'm not really sure if we really find something in here.
No, but the no, hang on. It's a event type, right? They usually say put those out at the top. Let's see, page URL. Where's that reference? That's on location changed. Location changed. Hey, let's expand this. So we don't want the test stuff.
Arcs, we also don't. The router, that's the bit where we use nav links. Oh yeah. Nav links, I mean, they're not special. They're just components. So that should be not interesting.
Yeah, so this is the router. We subscribe to that. Again, that was it. That was the router, yeah. And on location changed. So we get the arcs.
Yeah, this is what we saw earlier.
Yeah. And I guess that triggers run this async. This will probably cause any child components. Yeah, it will. It will refresh. Is navigation intercepted?
Previous navigation context. What does the navigation context do? Do you give in the path and this cancellation token? But that's all, huh? Then you have... Where is it used, the navigation context?
First, on navigation async. That's this guy. Gets a setter handler that is called before navigation. Okay, so that's not relevant. So here we try that. Then we have a refresh method. Navigation state.
Oh, that route data.
Yeah, here we get the import route data out.
That is good.
And then there, at this point, we call render. So that would render the child components of the router, which is page and other things. And they pass down the route.
Route table process parameters, also interesting. Add null for unused route. This is what we saw earlier, just way higher up the chain.
Yeah. So this is like convert constraint parameters to target type. So this is basically what this is doing. Now, so what we do is we pass it to found, and found is just a render fragment that takes the route data. And usually that would be the was it router view, right? Route view. There we go. So it receives the route data as input, and it chooses the layout.
But their route value.
Here we have render page with parameter. So render page with parameter. That would be out here. So here we have the page type. Oh, and here we actually... so this is how they show up. Okay, I think I understand what's going on now. So when you have... well, I was about to. Can you share your screen with with your demo app? But we have the router view. That's part of the router. If I have it again. Flip over to, can you flip over to? Let me. Yeah. So if just show the router page you have. Routes page or routes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. There you go. So we have a router. Then we have found, which is that's the component, and its context is router data. And then we have route view, which is the one I was just showing you, right? And we pass in the route data. Now, going back to my screen, the child concept we want to pass in here, that's we are basically opening a route of layout view, which is gonna render out our layout for us, whatever layout we've chosen. So that's defined either by the default layout. Again, going back to your screen real quick, you can see we have the default layout type of layout, main layout, right? Or if we go back here, it could also be that the page, so you can see page layout here, we have to find here. We basically go and find the layout attribute, because you can also have individual pages that have their own layout attribute where you overwrite whatever is the default layout and say, hey, you're going to use this layout instead. So this is basically finding the layout view that we want to render something into. So no, sorry, we have the layout view. That's a component we are opening. That layout view will likely have it's basically we wrap whatever child component, the actual page component we want to render, we wrap that in our layout, and that is the one that has the body parameter, the add body, right? Yeah. We get by default, right? So we're rendering one of those out. We're passing in the type of the layout we want to render, and we are passing in child content. Child content is the type of the page that we want to target. And if you go here and you say render page with parameters, what we have here is the route data will contain the page type. So route data will contain the page that matches the, again, going back to your code here, if you want to go to the home page, for example. And I guess if you scroll up to the top, you can see we have a page attribute that has a test and UL. So if you have two pages that has the same, add page attribute or route attribute in it, you get that duplicated something we actually saw when you did a quick test at some point where you had it in both places, right? So it needs to be distinct. So if you go back actually to the routes component you have and put a breakpoint on line 3, I believe, and run your code, and we inspect the route data, we will see that the type of page type will be our home page. Yeah, drop all those components.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can.
Oh, so put a code block in here. Just do an add code just in the middle of everything, or no, I would put it. No, I mean,
you want to have it here.
Yeah. You can also do if whatever, something like, just so you have something that they can break on. So yeah, you probably make, maybe, I don't know if you need to have it split up so you can, I don't know if it'll hit that breakpoint.
Indeed.
Yeah, okay. So you can go and can you inspect the route data? Is that in scope?
We can probably.
Oh, I see it in scope over there. Yeah, you probably want to.
Can I not just pin it somewhere? Inspect? Here.
Yeah. So
I hope it's big enough.
Yeah, we can see the route type is the top property you have. That is the pages.home page, right? So if you keep that open, go back here, we can see that what we are actually doing when you say render page with parameter is that we have that is the second render fragment we're passing down to our layout view. That is the actual page we want to render inside our layout. And then we open a new component where we pass in the page type, which was in your case the home type. And then we loop over and add component parameters based on the route values. And we add them using the builder.add component parameter with the key and the value. So that explains how the component parameters end up in the parameter view. So I guess we need to emulate this, right? Now we know for page attributes, or rather for Blazor pages, we can't have, there's no way to pass other parameters in, right? So if you go to your homepage, you the only way you can pass parameters to that is by passing, either cascading values, obviously, or and we already have a solution for that in bunit, or by passing in parameters through either the query string or from the route parameters. Yes. So, okay. So I think this sort of shows us what we need to do. So I'm gonna jump back to your screen now. So now we understand how route parameters come into the code. We might use reflection to actually use the same. You found, I think, on your source.net, you found the code that actually passes. I think.
Yeah, we had it earlier.
Yeah, we had it
somewhere here.
It's somewhere there, but it's basically like the routing table, convert and all of that. Maybe it was on my screen. I can't remember now.
No, it's here.
So. Yeah, there's that method where you do the parsing, right? There's the route tables dot, what was the method call? It was the process parameters, exactly. So there's first, just create a route from the context and pull out, and then you process them afterwards. So So there's some reflection stuff we can do to just call those methods, I believe, to make that work. So we don't have to re-implement all of that, and we have the exact same behavior. Also, if Microsoft decides at some point to add support for other, route constraints. Now, I think the next step would be to take go back to the code you've done already. But I don't, I think that so, and I see we're coming up on your dinner time. It's going to be easier next week when summertime is no longer a thing. Summertime is no longer a thing. So I think what we need to continue with here is, I think the general idea of us having, I don't know if we can generalize this concept of, now you said you could call it a component route parameter service, right? Mm-hmm. So the idea is similar to the supply cascading values service that Microsoft have for their internal bits, right? But if we can have a supply parameters service that you can use, well, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't try to make it generic initially. But I think the idea is sound enough that we have a place where we can pass in additional parameters, and then, I don't know, can we do that? But yeah, we probably want to call the set direct parameters on component state to trigger this behavior. And I'm fine. I think component state wasn't available in earlier versions of Blazor, like unsupported versions, which we still support. So I'm fine if what we do now here only works in .NET 8 and forward, right? Mm-hmm. Even in V1.
Okay.
Right. Well, if there's an easy path to make it work in the older versions, but it's not something we want to work around because some of the internal types we would be relying on have changed. So I think where you call the instance set parameters async, we probably want to actually go and instead maybe we even call just the render set parameters and render method, which is essentially, if you go to our implementation of renderer, right, our set parameters and render. You're missing an E, but I guess you can just use SPAR to find the right one. Yeah, go to.
Do we have an overload which just accepts a nice dictionary read-only connection? Or maybe something like that.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think you want to call the lower that one. I think go to. Oh, here we have renderer set direct parameters async. Right. So if you go to that, that's our overload method, and it will do the right thing. So I think that is the method we want to call with updated parameter view based on where we create a parameter view that has route parameters in, because set direct parameters in component state will already go and pick up any query string parameters which we already support. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
we have the renderer here.
I think you can have it because a navigation manager is registered as a service, and you can have navigation manager.
I mean, this is also a service, so it has to work like that.
Yeah. So yeah. And or maybe, I don't know if that might also be the other possibility. We don't need an additional separate service. We can just add that logic into navigation manager itself, but I might be wrong.
I mean, at the end, you could just make it a static class. I just didn't like the idea of having such a big navigation manager that I wanted to split out a bit the stance weight.
Yeah, and that might be, it might be, I don't know, we might have a method, something called supply parameters, or supply route parameter service. And it could also be needed if I think the renderer depends on navigation manager already, so it might create a cycle, so it can't resolve it. So yeah. So yeah, I think.
It has a test context, so I can get the renderer anytime I want.
Oh yeah, we have a test context there. Yeah, okay, so it should be fine. But yeah, so I think the idea is, you have it right there. Set text context renderer at a dispatcher. So yeah, I think we are. I think what we need to do is you want to try and steal the parsing code from Blazor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then just call set parameters async. I actually think that might work for us. Let me just go back, see if I can find. Here we go. Yeah. So apparently we have a routing state provider that will do the work for us. If we find implementation of that, that is just one, and it's endpoint routing state provider. If you find that type.
Oh, I have your screen on.
Oh.
I'm lazy. I thought if you already do the dirty work.
Yeah. Okay, so we have this endpoint routing state provider. Okay, that doesn't help us a lot. So if you go back, let me show you where I was. I was here. So this is basically, refresh navigation intercepted. And if it's not intercepted, we go and get the relative path, location, all that. That doesn't really matter. Here we just go get the endpoint route data. And once we have that, we call this method, and then we, the rest is what we already saw. So if we go forward again, we have this type, and that is being registered as a scope service in Razor components when you just set up Blazor. And I am guessing it's actually here in this method. Oh, here we go, new route data. And I guess it's get route data dot values and component
from
type that
is being HTTP context. Wait, this has to be a special case.
No, get route data. It will get the I feature.
How does it work in WebAssembly where when you navigate around your application where the HTTP context isn't set anymore? Or as Blazor server if there's no HTTP context?
Oh, actually, there might be some other code we can use, because with Blazor WebAssembly, it must work differently, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So routing feature, let's find implementations of that. I guess this is the only one. Okay, it's just rabbit holes all the way down. So is it here? In context.route data, that comes from a route context. And who sets this? It's being set action constraint matcher policy. Sure, let's backtrack. Where do you come from? Route data. Candidate values. What is candidate? It's a candidate set.
I'm a bit lost where we are right now.
I am also evaluate
action constraints core method. I am also, if I just look at the API or like read-only syntax of some tuple, is like, okay.
Okay, let's do Blazor. Where's some router? Are we having, like, if we go and let's find the right type here. CD temp. It's a .NET new Blazor. Hang on, let's just create one new. I can't remember the syntax for it anyway. Continue without code.
Blazor web app you're looking for?
Yeah, but I just can't remember.
No, it's literally Blazor dash web app, I think.
Yeah, okay, but I want it to be WebAssembly.
It's dash interact. Okay, yeah, you got me.
Yeah. So I guess this is the client app, program, routes. Okay. So if we go back here, find this guy. Let's see. Create default. Builder. So there must be something route specific in here. Because as far as I could see going back here, and let me zoom in. Here, this is still just the ASP.NET Core routing router components. A router view. Yeah, it's the same one. So there's no WebAssembly specific router. No, it's the same router.
Interesting.
Right?
So they only have a specific navigation manager.
Yeah. So if you start going back again, back, further back. Here. So this routing state provider is. Hang on, where are you coming from? It's coming from here. Oh, yeah. So this iRouting state. So this is the same one. Like, so there must be two implementations of this guy, or at least two different places. So now there's.
I'm out. It's too late. I'm out with my brain.
Yeah. Okay, hang on. Maybe in order to avoid routing twice. So here we return. So what if we actually, so this might be the Blazor server stuff, maybe refresh routing table. Maybe this is actually where location path, this is a routing context, routers, route. Okay, so this might be the WebAssembly bit down here. So let's refresh routing table. So it will.
You sure? That looks pretty.
No, so you can see here.
This in order.
I would imagine that. So. Well, I don't not even sure if I know how to debug in. But if we go in here and say inject what was the name again?
There was internal, wasn't it?
No, this one is public. So
this one. Only okay.
Supposedly something like this. Route. Yeah. So if I do code and do, well, no, I don't even need to do that. I can just do add routing dot route data. Sure. Just print that out. So I am suspecting that it's going to say it can't. Let's start it up. I'm suspecting it says it can't. There's no iRouting data state provider available because it's nullable, right? So if you look here, it's only being used here. So basically it says, hey, if I don't have one, I'm not going to return here. I'm going to continue down here. So let's see. It's just spinning up. Where did you spin up though? Oh,
yeah,
it opened a different window here. Oh, actually, it does have one, I guess. Oh no, it failed.
No.
Let's see. Yes, open DevTools, please. I am going to zoom.
It should be also in your VS window. Or it's nullable. It could also be an issue.
Oh, it literally says that it's.
Okay, yeah, I can provide the value for that type.
So it's not registered. All right. So if you go back here, that means right. That means this one will return false. So it'll end up here. So what we're doing is we say refresh routing table, which route table reference, create instance service provider routes. What is this? Oh, it's creating a route table. It's an internal thing. So refresh route table basically says if route table last built for what is route key? Route key that requires an app assembly. Oh, so this is just I guess if you have assemblies that change while you're running. So this is just basically, I think one time we're creating we're just making sure that we have, so I guess if dynamically new pages show up. Sorry, I missed. Did you see what Blazer Mr. Magoo said?
Oh.
It's actually being generated by the ASP in endpoint running. Yes, I believe so. Routing tables are built, I guess, during startup. Well, at least when it's statically server-side rendered stuff. It's basically doing it using reflection to find all the components and building out routing tables. But yeah, so here we are basically ensuring that we have all the routes available in our, so I guess this is sort of similar to what you have in your code, where we say get routable components. Let me just double check it's 200. Yeah. So we find all the component types that are routable. And then we have a component type and service providers, and we loop over that, and we find all the components and I guess templates and do the thing. So yeah, that part we might not need to do. If we go back up here, that would be here, refresh route table. So we have route context. Oh,
yeah, we were there. Oh. No, I was just like, if you want to pick it up the next time, I'm a bit out right now.
Yeah, fair enough. But I think actually maybe we just need to instantiate the route context type here and pass in the string path. And it...
No, it doesn't. We checked this earlier. It doesn't.
Yeah, it does. It just get decode path. It does do... It does... Well, we get the path, and then we have... routes.
That's the routes.route. Yeah, this is the interesting bit, because routes.route does all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, and then we have routing table, and then
I'm not sure with, if we just instantiate that and have literally no stuff around that, like the route view and whatnot, if this just crashes.
Yeah, so here we just pass in the routing context, and it will, probably, yeah, this is probably where it will, this seems to be, I guess it probably process parameters method. Oh, I can't go to that, I guess. But I'm guessing the process...
It's literally down there.
Oh, you are right. Process parameters.
And this is what it does. This is the real processing.
Yeah. So when we call this, it will update the context with route parameters, and then based on that, we can create a route data where we get the parameters out of the context, and then okay. So I'm guessing this is essentially what we want to reuse the route table type to some extent figure out how that is being created.
Yeah, then they have tree route, which is also internal. I'm not sure if we have. Well, we save the complexity of parsing that stuff on our own, but we have the complexity of having like 6 internal types.
Yeah,
I mean, we can try it and then just compare the solutions and check.
I'm wondering if we can
just have a router.
Yeah, if we can use this guy.
If we would be the best if we could just hook up the router with our navigation manager and just wrap, make this kind of like the root under our root.
No, well, this already listens to navigation manager, right?
Yes, but you need the router and you need the route view. So you need those 2 components we don't have right now in bunit.
No, that's true. Yeah, I would be hesitant maybe to go that direction, but I think if we have the refresh, basically we want to call. I think we might need to call this one time, and the way we call create, but then we know, like here where we create the route table, here that is actually probably just this method we need to call where we have parsing component type, but we just know the components, like that's the type of components, and it will call the get template and do the things. So this will return a route table to us, and that is the thing that we need to be able to do process parameters, get route data out. I think, yeah.
Wait, but this type is already internal. So
yeah.
So we have to work with strings. Because you cannot use type of for an internal type. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I want to go down this route.
You can. You just need to. You can just call.
Yeah, you have to have the full qualifier. Just use the full qualifier of that thing.
No. Yeah, it's fine. But I think I remember when I was looking at HTMXer and trying to figure out routing because I wanted to customize the routing. I ran into issues because basically all the stuff as we see now is internal, and there were no real good way to. So I ended up using a little bit of reflections just to reuse that, because it's like when you start pulling on that tree, if you want to re-implement all they have, it's quite a few code. There's a lot of code that does all of this. So like we're just looking at the top, but we call that method, then you go one layer deep, and all of a sudden we are into a couple, I don't want to say hundreds of files, but it was quite a significant branch of the ASP.NET Core, MVC, the whole routing parsing stuff. So I don't want us to re-implement that. And the sort of, you started scratching the surface, and I did the same thing when I started playing with HTMXer, and it's quite a lot. So I would rather just use some reflection and re-implement that. And I remember at the MVP Summit last year asking Safia about it, and I said, well, is it sort of a public hook point? And she said, nah, you probably just want to use reflection because they haven't made it public, but it's also been quite stable for a while because they use the routing logic, parsing of URLs and all of that. They use that in all the ASP.NET Core stuff, right? It's all of the same logic that's used everywhere. So I think it's internal, but it's fairly stable. So I think it's okay for us to use. So yeah. I think that's probably going to be the right way to go. And we might be able to find services, or maybe we can just simply, like, instead of having the router component, right? Instead of having the router component directly in the render tree, we can just, classic new it up and pass in dependencies to it, and maybe use that as an entry point. That might be something to do instead. I don't know if that makes sense, Stephen. I see you are about to leave the building.
I'm fading out. No, but I just we have to check. I feel like this is. It starts with good intentions to save some code. I don't know where that leads us.
Yeah, I'm I'm fairly certain it's not going to be worth our time to re-implement that. I remember, like I said, last time I considered something like that, I, got wiser and just used a bit of reflection. So yeah. But maybe, yeah, we can find other bits of public Blazor that allows us to indirectly access it, right? Like, for example, using the router component itself, and just instantiate it, pass in stuff to it, and use, get the things out we need, and then we can set parameters async afterwards.
Yeah.
All right.
Or really setting router with, like wrapping everything. I don't know why why shouldn't it work?
Well,
or it works. The question is like, why is it not good?
The thing, so I'm not sure it wouldn't work. Well, router expects us to pass in. So we don't like, so the user will say render component and pass in whatever component they have, which is potentially a page-based component, like a component with a page attribute on it. Now, we could quite easily have that be rendered inside like we could add the router components and then have the found child content be the component people are trying out, like the component on the test. Why is my camera dancing around? It's trying to zoom in. Stop that. I'm just here. So let me, okay. I'm just
let's tackle it maybe next week. I have to make myself some thoughts, because otherwise we go down this rabbit hole once again.
Yeah. Well, I am, the thing is, just to finish my thought, if we just try to basically have a router component in the component tree, which we do have a hook for in bunit, well, for it to, for a child component on the test to pick up, it needs to be aware that there's a route data value being exposed inside the, the render fragment that you can render stuff out from. So we need to extract that anyway. But I think a solution might be to just instantiate the router component type in the code where you want to do the thing you want to do, and just manipulate the public methods directly on that instead of having it be part of the render tree. I think that might work. So
okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, so you don't need to resort to reflection. So yeah. Anyway, Stephen, it's been excellent. And next week it will be 1 hour earlier for you. So yes. So it will be. We will do it the same time, UTC time, next week at 1:30.
Yeah, it depends, UTC. Folks, if you have daylight saving time or not.
Yeah. So
if you're that unfortunate and unlucky.
Yeah, I'm quite happy we don't have that in Iceland. But both just know it's kind of annoying because all the people I work with, including you and also my colleagues in Denmark, they have DST and daylight savings time, and it's a bit annoying because half of the year there's 2 hours time difference and the other half is 1 hour. So yeah, it would be easier if it was just consistent, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for me it's easier, like right now it's almost in the evening. You can see it's getting darker, and that's really helpful. 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Yeah, so it's easier, at least with you, or with folks. Yeah, but it's just, I am also not a keen fan of changing it. I would rather prefer just having one time, but this is not, I cannot decide that.
Anyway, I had a strong feeling we would end up going quite deep on this. But let's see, I'll, if you have some time this week to kick the tires a bit more, we can pick this up next week. Otherwise, we can just code it next Friday. I think we have a sort of a way to attack this problem now.
Yep.
And otherwise, maybe next Friday we will actually get to go through all the new changes.
.NET 9.
.NET 9.
I will not promise that here at all.
No, we don't want to promise too much, but double check what we might need to make changes to bunit to support for .NET 9. But I think for the most part, we have all of it. But there might be some few edge cases, maybe some new event handlers. I believe there was some new keyboard event stuff coming, but I'm not sure if we need to do anything specific. But
damn it, yeah, that could be.
Anyways, Stephen,
Perfect.
have an excellent weekend.
You too. Thanks for tuning in, staying with us, sticking with us. And we see us latest next Friday, 1:30 UTC.
That's the
Is
plan.
this right?
Yeah. Okay.
Was it right?
Thanks, guys.
I think so. Yeah.
And my time is 1:30 p.m. Hey.
Oh, then it's. But aren't you UTC
2:30.
+1?
No, UTC is 0 point.
You are UTC. You are the
I
definition
am
of UTC. Perfect. I like that. So if you fly to Denmark, UTC will shift. I guess every developer will appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Thanks for having us.
Cheers,
Have a nice
guys.
weekend.
Thanks for coding with us. Bye-bye.